You are hitting 30, you have a good degree, a decent job, and everyone thinks you are completely settled. But when you look at your actual bank balance at the end of the month, it feels like a joke. You aren't buying luxury cars, you're just ordering food and paying for basic subscriptions, but somehow the money is just vanishing. Dekho, you probably think you're doing okay because all your friends are in the exact same situation, but I'm going to show you the actual math today. By doing okay, you have silently lost over 13 lakh rupees in wealth that you should have by now. Today, we are looking at the shocking reality of the average 30-year-old Indian and the exact 5-step system to fix your finances before it's too late. Okay, real talk. You're 30 or somewhere near 30. You have a job, maybe even a decent paying one. You've got a Zerodha account, maybe a couple of mutual funds running on SIP, a vague idea of what a Nifty 50 is. And yet, at the end of every single month, the money is just gone. You're not buying Louis Vuitton bags. You're not doing international vacations every quarter. You're just living. Zomato, Ola, one OTT subscription that became four, and somehow you're 30 years old and you still feel like you're one emergency away from calling your parents. Does that sound familiar? Because if it does, this video is going to either genuinely change how you think about money or it's going to make you deeply uncomfortable, possibly both. I am Rohan, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart, educated, hardworking Indians are still broke in their 30s. Not broke like can't eat broke, but broke like no real wealth to show for a decade of work broke. If you're someone who earns reasonably well but feels like your money never goes anywhere, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Alright, let's get into it. Here's the thing. When I ask most 30-year-olds about their finances, they say some version of, I'm doing okay. Okay, let's actually look at what okay looks like in India in 2026. The average monthly salary of a working professional in an Indian metro city, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, Hyderabad, is somewhere between 60,000 to 90,000 rupees per month. According to data from the Ministry of Statistics and recent payroll reports from platforms like ADP India and Naukri, the median in-hand salary for a professional with 5 to 8 years of experience is roughly 72,000 rupees per month. 72,000 rupees. That sounds decent, right? Now here's where it starts to get uncomfortable. According to the SEBI Investor Survey 2025, released earlier this year, only 15% of urban Indian households participate in securities markets at all. Only 15%. The rest? Fixed deposits that don't beat inflation, gold sitting in a locker, or just a savings account earning 3.5%. And look, I'm not here to shame anyone, but I'm here to show you the math because the math is shocking. Let's talk about what a 30-year-old should have by now. And I promise this isn't going to be a lecture. This is just arithmetic. If you started working at 22, you've had roughly 8 years of income. Let's say your average in-hand salary over those years was 50,000 rupees per month. That's being conservative for metro professionals. That's 48 lakh rupees in total income over 8 years, not counting raises. Now, if you had invested just 20% of that, 10,000 rupees a month in a simple index fund from age 22, at the Nifty 50's average historical return of around 12% annually, you'd have approximately 15 lakh 80,000 rupees today. That's not a crazy number. That's just 20% saved. Basic index fund, nothing exotic. But here's what most people don't realize. Based on multiple surveys and my own conversations with dozens of 30-year-olds, most salaried professionals have under 3 lakh rupees in liquid savings at this age. Under 3 lakh rupees versus 15 lakh 80,000 rupees. That's not a small gap. That's a 13 lakh rupees gap created entirely by not having a system. And this isn't about being irresponsible. This is about something much more interesting. It's about the psychology of money in India. And that's where this video gets really interesting. Let me tell you about my friend. I'll call him Vikram. Vikram works at a product company in Bangalore, makes 1,20,000 rupees in hand per month. By all accounts, doing great. 30 years old, single, no dependents. You'd think Vikram is stacking cash, right? Vikram has 80,000 rupees in savings, total, after 7 years of working. When I sat down with him and went through his expenses, and I genuinely do this, I know it's weird. Here's what we found. Rent, 28,000 rupees, because location matters for networking, Rohan. EMI on a car he bought in 2023, 14,500 rupees. Food delivery plus dining out, 12,000 rupees a month. Subscriptions, Netflix, Prime, Hotstar, Spotify, some gym app he doesn't use, 3,200 rupees. Weekend plans, drinks, movies, 8,000 rupees. Random Amazon purchases he doesn't remember, 5,000 rupees. That's 70,700 rupees before any investing, any insurance, any savings. And here's the thing, none of these purchases feel like a big deal individually. That's the trap. This is what behavioral economists call the pain of paying illusion. When payments are spread out, automated, or small individually, your brain doesn't register them as significant losses. But 12,000 rupees on food delivery, that's a one-way business class ticket on some domestic routes. That's the down payment top-up on a property. That's 4 months of a solid SIP. Now, you might be thinking, Rohan, bro, we work hard, we deserve to enjoy life. And I completely agree with you, 100%. I'm not saying don't live your life. But there's a difference between spending intentionally and spending unconsciously. Vikram wasn't choosing to spend 5,000 rupees on random Amazon stuff. It was just happening. And that's the problem. Okay, let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention in Indian personal finance conversations: lifestyle inflation. Urban Indian millennials have dramatically increased their discretionary spending post-pandemic, post-UPI everything, post-BNPL becoming mainstream. BNPL apps in India, LazyPay, ZestMoney's successor products, Slice, Simple, processed over 1,80,000 crore rupees in transactions in 2025 alone. And the fastest growing user base? 26 to 35-year-olds. That's you. Here's the psychological trick at the core of all of this. BNPL decouples spending from payment. You don't feel the money leaving. You buy that 6,000 rupees wireless earbud because it's just 499 rupees a month. But 499 rupees a month for 12 months is 5,988 rupees. Plus processing fees, you're often paying more than the sticker price. And you've got 4 of these running simultaneously. Sound familiar? This is where it gets really interesting and a little scary. When you look across recent surveys on salaried Indian millennial wealth, the picture is grim. The average net worth of a 30-year-old professional is likely under 5 lakh rupees, not income, net worth, assets minus liabilities. For comparison, the latest Federal Reserve data puts the median net worth of an American under $35 at roughly $39,000. That's about 36 lakh rupees at current exchange rates. And America has its own savings crisis. We still have it worse. Now here's a big one. The biggest wealth destroyer of the Indian middle class dressed up as a wealth creator, the home loan. Look, I'm not saying don't buy a house. I'm saying understand what you're actually buying. Let's take a real example. An apartment in Pune's Wakad or Hinjewadi area, popular with IT professionals, costs roughly 75 to 85 lakh rupees for a 2 BHK in 2026. Let's say 80 lakh rupees. You put 20% down, 16 lakh rupees, you take a loan of 64 lakh rupees at the current SBI home loan rate, which as of early 2026 is hovering around 8.5% per annum, 20-year tenure. Your EMI, approximately 56,100 rupees per month. Over 20 years, you will pay a total of 1 crore 34 lakh 64,000 rupees. That's 1.35 crore rupees for an 80 lakh rupees apartment. You are paying 70 lakh 60,000 rupees in pure interest. That's 88% extra cost just in interest on top of the apartment price. Now your real estate agent and every uncle at every family gathering will tell you, but property value bhi to badhega beta. And sure, maybe it does. Residential real estate in India has historically appreciated at around 6 to 7% annually in most cities, roughly in line with or slightly below inflation. Meanwhile, the Nifty 50 has returned an average of 12 to 13% annually over the last 20 years. I'm not saying rent forever. I'm saying know the real math before you commit 56,000 rupees a month for 2 decades. Here's what most people don't realize. Your home is not an investment. It's a consumption asset that you also live in. The moment you understand that distinction, your entire financial strategy changes. Okay, I know this has been a lot of uncomfortable truths, but here's the part I genuinely get excited about. India's financial infrastructure in 2026 is extraordinary for someone who wants to actually build wealth. We have Direct mutual fund platforms, Zerodha Coin, Grow, Kuvera, where you pay zero commission. Index funds tracking Nifty 50 and Nifty Next 50 with expense ratios as low as 0.10%, that's among the lowest in the world. NPS Tier 1 accounts giving you an additional 50,000 rupees tax deduction under Section 80 CCD 1B. EPFO's voluntary PF contributions giving you a guaranteed 8.25% return, tax-free at maturity, and here's the number that should make every 30-year-old sit up. If you invest 15,000 rupees per month starting today, not in some exotic fund, just a simple Nifty 50 index fund, and you continue until age 60, at the historical average of 12%, you will have 5.2 crore rupees. 5.2 crore rupees from 15,000 rupees a month. That's less than Vikram spends on food and car EMI combined. The math is not the problem, the behavior is the problem. This is the section I really want you to take seriously. Every financial advisor in India will tell you to save more, spend less. And they are right. But they skip the most important step. Why are you not already doing it? There are three psychological traps that keep the average 30-year-old Indian stuck. Trap number 1. Social comparison spending. India is a deeply social, deeply visible society. We notice what cars our colleagues drive. We notice what phones people carry. We notice where people go for holidays and what they post on Instagram. And our spending follows our perception of our peer group spending. Behavioral research consistently shows that urban Indians significantly overestimate their peers' income and lifestyle by a large margin. You think your friends earn more than they do. You are spending to keep up with a benchmark that doesn't actually exist. Trap number 2. Future self-disconnection. Behavioral psychology has a term for this, temporal discounting. Your brain literally values 1,000 rupees today more than 10,000 rupees in 10 years, even when the math says 10,000 rupees is better. It's not stupidity, it's how all human brains are wired. The fix? Make the future real. Don't think about retirement. Think about your 55-year-old self sitting in a doctor's office and not having to call a family member to ask for money. That image is uncomfortable enough to motivate action. And trap number 3, the I'll start when I earn more trap. This is the one that destroys the most wealth in India. I hear it constantly. Abhi salary थोड़ी कम है, next appraisal के बाद start करूँगा. Here's the brutal truth. You will never feel ready. Every income level feels like just a little bit less than enough. It's called the hedonic treadmill. As your income rises, your lifestyle rises to match it, and you never have extra money to invest. The only way to break this cycle is to automate investing before you see the money. SIP on the first of the month, the same day your salary hits. Your brain adapts to the remaining amount. It always does. Alright, let's make this actionable. Here's what the average 30-year-old Indian professional should be doing right now. And I'm giving you a framework, not a rigid rule. Step 1. Calculate your actual net worth today. Open a spreadsheet, write down everything you own, savings, FDs, mutual funds, EPF, gold, property equity. Then write down everything you owe. Home loan outstanding, car loan, credit card balance, BNPL dues. Subtract. That number is your financial starting point. Most people have never done this. It's uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Step 2. Hit the 20% investment floor, non-negotiable. Before rent, before groceries, before anything, 20% of your in-hand salary goes into investments on salary day. For someone earning 72,000 rupees in hand, that's 14,400 rupees. Set up an SIP today. Nifty 50 index fund, done. If you can't do 20%, start at 10% and increase by 2% every 6 months. Step 3. Build a 3-month emergency fund first. Before you aggressively invest, make sure you have 3 months of expenses in a liquid fund or high-yield savings account. HDFC's liquid fund, Parak Parikh liquid fund, or even a Kotak 811 savings account at 7% interest. This is not investing, this is protection. Without it, one medical emergency wipes out your entire portfolio. Step 4. Audit your subscriptions and EMIs quarterly. Set a calendar reminder every 3 months. Go through every auto debit on your bank statement. Cancel anything you don't actively use. If you haven't consciously decided to keep it, cut it. Step 5. Optimize your taxes, but know which regime you're actually in. Here's what most people get wrong. Since FY 2023 to 2024, the new tax regime is the default. And for most of you earning around 8 to 10 lakh rupees annually, it is mathematically the better deal. Higher basic exemption of 4 lakh rupees, lower slab rates, 75,000 rupees standard deduction for salaried folks, and none of the lock-ins. Under the new regime, 80C and 80CCD 1B simply don't apply. If you're still on the old regime, yes, max out your 1,50,000 rupees in ELSS and 50,000 rupees in NPS. But don't stay on it just to chase deductions if the new regime saves you more overall. The goal isn't to hold tax certificates, it's to keep more cash in your hands and then actively invest it. Here's the thing I want to leave you with. The average 30-year-old Indian isn't failing because they are lazy or stupid. They are failing because nobody taught them this stuff. School didn't, college didn't, and most families pass down the same patterns they inherited. Gold, FDs, properties always safe. But you're watching this video, which means you're already different from most people. The gap between where you are and where you could be is not luck, it's not your salary, it's not the economy. India's GDP is growing at 6.8% in 2026, the markets are at all-time highs, and we are genuinely living through one of the best long-term investment environments in Indian history. The gap is just time and behavior, and both of those are in your control. Your 40-year-old self will either thank you or resent you for what you do in the next 12 months. The math doesn't lie. Compound interest doesn't care about your excuses. It just works for whoever shows up consistently. So, show up. Start the SIP today. Calculate your net worth this weekend. Have one honest conversation about money with your partner or a trusted friend. Just start. That's all. If this video gave you even one thing to think about, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Let me know, what's your biggest money struggle right now? Spending too much, not knowing where to start investing, the home loan dilemma? Tell me, and I'll make videos that actually answer your real questions. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I post every week on real-world personal finance for Indian professionals. No jargon, no get-rich-quick stuff. Just math, psychology, and honest conversations about money. I'll see you in the next one.